Well, happy Friday, you guys, and today we are going to be canning some pie filling. So Matt is in the kitchen helping me chop up apples. We ended up going with a blend of Granny Smith apple and Honeycrisp apple. So anything that I have left of the Honeycrisp, I am probably going to make homemade applesauce or apple butter with. I haven't decided yet. I'm gonna think on it while I can the pie filling. But today we're gonna can pie filling together. Now I've already canned pie filling this year, but I realized that I didn't have a video on it and so many of you wanted to see it. So I'm gonna can some extra pie filling today, get it up on my shelf. It'll go to good use because quite frankly, I used a lot of pie filling over the winter. So we're gonna do that together today. And so I'm gonna take you into the kitchen and we're gonna
so that you guys know, I am going to be going off of the Amish Canning Cookbook, which is my favorite canning book. Now, follow the directions, don't follow me, but I am going to put a disclaimer in here that I do tweak this recipe just slightly, okay? I have been canning pie filling for a long time now, and it's one of my favorite things to can, but I have come to find that most of the pie filling recipes will make it so that you just have enough to get in the jars. Meaning you're gonna have to like really scrape the bowl. And I don't know about you, but it's not my favorite part of canning. So I like to round up a little bit when I make pie filling. So, you know, instead of 5.5 cups of sugar, I'm gonna add 6. Instead of 1.5 cups of clear gel, I do not use cornstarch and I do not use flour. I use clear gel, cook type, okay? I'm gonna round that up to 2 cups. The cinnamon and the nutmeg, I will keep the same, but I do add a little sprinkle of pumpkin pie filling. I just like the flavor in my apple pie. 2.5 cups of cold water plus 5 cups of apple juice. For me, I add about 8 to 8.5 cups of apple juice. I use an organic, no sugar added apple juice. Okay, that's totally up to you. This is just what I do. It's equal to about 1 whole bottle. And then 3/4 cup of bottled lemon juice. You do not want to use fresh lemon juice when you are canning because every lemon is different, and you cannot be for sure of the pH. So you need bottled lemon juice when you're canning, okay? When you're cooking fresh, use the fresh, but when you're canning, stick with the bottled so that you know exactly that you are getting exactly the amount of acid that you need in your canning recipe to make it safe. So instead of 3/4 cup, I round that up to 1 cup, okay? So you don't have to do that. This is just how I do it. Okay, so today we are going to be doing 6 quarts. I use wide mouth when I do pie filling. It's just easier to get it in and it's also easier to get it out. And then if I have any left over, I'm gonna go ahead and make an apple crisp for dessert tonight. So, all right, so here's what I've got going on. I've got my electric canner. I'm gonna be using my electric water bath canner. I have all 6 of my jars in here. They've already been brought up to a boil and now they're just down to a light simmer, so they are nice and sterilized. We're gonna be using, again, sugar, clear gel, cinnamon, nutmeg, a little bit of pumpkin pie spice, apple juice, and lemon juice. I've got my lids and rings here soaking in very hot water. I have a pot here on the stove that we're gonna be making our pie filling in first, and then we'll add the apples. And then in here, in this pot here, is just water that I am now bringing up to a boil because we are gonna blanch our apples for 1 minute in this water, okay? We're gonna blanch them here and then we're gonna bring them on over to the pie filling once this is already cooked. So while that is coming up to a boil, I'm gonna go ahead and start my pie. So Matt is holding the camera for me. Thank you, Matt. And this in here now is 6 cups of granulated sugar, and now we're gonna add 2 cups of cook type clear gel, okay? 2. Okay, and then we're gonna add to this Now I use a heaping tablespoon, but it all depends on how much cinnamon you like in your pie filling. So I'm going to use 1 heaping tablespoon of cinnamon. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and add 1 kind of heaping teaspoon of nutmeg, and then I just like to do a little smidgen, as I like to call it, of pumpkin pie spice. Just a little smidgen. That's it. It's just a little helper there. Okay, so now we have our sugar, our clear gel, our spices, and now I'm going to get a spoon here. Just give this a nice little stir. All right, so sorry about the fan. That's automatic. It turns on when it gets too hot on the stove. So now that we have all our dry ingredients, we're going to add 8 cups, about 8 cups. Let's see how much is in a bottle here.
64 ounces.
Yeah, so just, that's 8 cups, and then there's a little smidgen extra. So I'm just going to dump the rest of it in there. And then we're going to get this on the heat. Set it about medium for me. And then we're going to stir this, and we're going to start bringing this up to where it starts to get bubbly, and then we're going to go ahead and add our lemon juice. Alright, so I just want to show how this starts to thicken up, and I'm making this video mainly because I know a lot of you have been struggling with the pie filling, and some of you are intimidated, so I wanted to kind of show the entire process of what it'll look like here from start to finish. So you want to continuously stir it, okay, and you'll start seeing it thick up, and you can start seeing the gel. You see that the darkness in there is it's starting to gel. Okay, now when this starts bubbling, that's when we can add our lemon juice too. See how fast that turned into this? See how fast that turned? Look at that. It's like magic. And now we're going to go ahead and add the lemon juice in here. Okay? And then once that gets added, I'm going to stir this now for 1 whole minute. Okay? And while I'm stirring, Matt's going to put the camera down, and he's going to add the apples into the boiling water, and we're going to blanch those for 1 minute. So this is where the timing dance happens. We're going to drain off our apples here. We're going to get them in the pie filling. Just wanted to show you guys what the pie filling will look like once it's all done. All right, I'm going to change your battery really quickly, and then we're going to get started getting this into jars. So on my setup here, what I like to have is a nice towel to catch all the sticky. Our pot with hot water with our lids and our rings nice and washed. You want to make sure you wash them first. Your Poke Joe or your debubbler, I always keep it in a jar because this is going to get sticky and full of pie filling. So that's just going to put, you know, instead of laying it on your towel, that's just going to be a nice neat place for you to put it on. You're going to want a funnel. I like to use a wide mouth funnel for pie filling. There's a little dish here with straight regular distilled vinegar in it, white vinegar. And then I always like to keep a spoon just in case I have too much in the jar and I have to scoop some out. This is nice and handy to have, okay? So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and we are going to pull out our first jar. Now, pie filling can be very tricky because it does explode in the jar. And some people have said that they put 1/2 inch headspace. Some people say they put 1 inch headspace. I'm going to show you how I do it, and it's usually foolproof. Although, you know, I mean, sometimes you just have some stubborn pie filling that likes to explode. So what we're going to do is we're going to, hopefully you guys can see that. I hope you can see that. Okay, there we go. So we're going to go ahead and get this in the jar here. Very important to debubble this because this is very chunky and you will have air pockets. And air pockets can really affect your headspace too. So just take your time, especially if it's your first time doing pie filling. the chunks like to take their time going down. And then when I get about halfway full, I like to start debubbling and just making sure that all the pie slices are getting nice and packed in there. Now, it usually takes about 2 quarts of pie filling to make a nice deep dish pie, okay? However, if you, because you know, canning lids are hard to find this year, if you want to reserve some of that, you can do 1 quart of pie filling and then go ahead and just add some fresh apples to your pie. Tastes really good that way, you know, because then you've got a little bit of a crunchier apple in there, you know, one that has a little bit more body to it, and it just extends your pie filling a little bit more. It'd help if I just held the handle. Okay, so here we go. Now I'm going to take these pieces out and I'm going to show you. Let me get an extra jar out, because I do like to put my funnel in a jar, okay? And I might actually take 1 slice of apple out of here. I'm actually going to take 2 slices out. And I'm going to show you where I pack my pie filling. I pack my pie filling right at the neck of the jar, okay? Because I find 1-inch headspace is not enough. And sometimes 1.5 isn't even enough. So what I like to do is I like to debubble, and then I like to take a spoon and kind of pack this down a bit, okay? So I can see where it's at. And then I'll take the camera and I'll show you where I like to pack it. Take some of this pie filling out. So pie filling, I always take my time on, okay? It's not something I rush and just, you know, get in the jar and get it done. I really take my time with it, because anybody who's used clear gel knows that this explodes in the jar. Okay, so do you see my headspace on that? Let's see if I can get you focused. So right at the neck of your jar where it starts to turn in, okay, right here, that's where I like to have my headspace, okay? So that will give that pie filling plenty of room to expand up, and quite often it expands all the way up to the lids, and that looks really good to me. So that's where I put my headspace for pie filling. So you really want to make sure that your jar is wiped down really well. Okay. Do a couple passes, it's okay. All right, and then we're gonna go in here. This is where having 2 lifters helps, so you're not using the one that you debubbled with. And then we're gonna go ahead and fingertip tight, okay? And that is the first jar of our pie filling, okay? So in the canner that's gonna go. Several of you messaged me and said, I tried and it was a mess. Many of you had pie filling explosion, and trust me, I have been there. I have earned my canning stripes on pie filling. So again, take your time, don't overfill the jar, debubble as you go, and all of these things will help you with that headspace. In my opinion, like I said, I'm not a professional. I'm just a mom who cans a lot, okay? And I'm just sharing how I do mine in hopes that it might help you do yours. All right, gosh, it smells so good. And again, having a little bit of that extra pie filling goo is nice because I don't have to scrape my pot. Alright, we're going to add another spoonful here, and that might be it. Nope, we can add a little bit more. Don't really want to debubble all the way around, all the sides, and then get in that center. Okay, I think I can add another piece or two. And the more you make pie filling, the better you'll get, trust me. You'll just get a feel for it, and then it won't be intimidating anymore. And you will love canning pie filling because it's so, so good. All right, so I'm gonna show you again where that headspace is, okay? So I'm right at the curve at the neck of the jar. Of course, again, this is a wide mouth, so it's gonna look a little different if you're using regular mouth. I like the wide mouth much better for pie filling, okay? So that's where we're sitting. Make sure that's nice and clean. Now I'm using button top just because I know many of you are new to canning and most of you are gonna have button tops, so that's why I'm using my button top. The last time I canned pie filling, which was just last week, I used all of the tattlers. So this will be nice to have on my shelf in case I want to give a quart away to one of my boys. So, all right, this is going to go in the canner. This is fingertip tight, okay? In the canner it goes. Okay, I'm going to swing you around so you can see that headspace right at the curve of the jar, okay? And we're going to go ahead and get a new napkin. I like to change out my napkin or paper towel often, especially with pie filling because it is so sticky. It's better to use an extra napkin than to lose a jar that doesn't seal on you. Of course, if it doesn't seal on you, you can always just make an apple pie, right? There's really no loss. If this doesn't seal on you, you can put it in the fridge. It'll stay good for about a week. Okay. Third one in the canner it goes. Now I'm going to go ahead and finish these up, and then I will bring you back when we get ready to process. I want to show you I have 6 quarts in there now. You definitely have enough to make 7 quarts, and that's what this recipe makes, okay? I promised though my kids that I would make them an apple crisp with some vanilla ice cream tonight, so I am not going to can this 7th quart up. I'm going to go ahead and make an apple crisp for my kids with it. All right, so now for where I live, I am under 1,000 feet, so I will be processing my pie filling for 25 minutes. That is going to change depending on where you live. I'm going to go ahead now. I've turned my electric canner on to canning, and then I'm going to go ahead and put the lid on this. I love the Ball electric canner, by the way. I don't know if this is available yet on Amazon. This sold out for, I think, the whole time we've had COVID. I will double check for you guys, but I will leave a link down below to all of my canning supplies. That way, if you're looking for something in particular, some kind of tool that I use that you are interested in, you'll be able to find it right down below. All right, so I'm going to watch this, and as soon as this comes to a rapid boil, I'm going to go ahead and set my timer for 25 minutes. When 25 minutes is up, I will turn this off, take off the lid, and then I will set my timer for 5 minutes. I give my jars 5 minutes in the canner just to kind of cool down, let the water stop boiling, and you know, just let it calm down. So our timer just went off, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut this off. Okay, and then I'm going to grab, always open it away from you. And then I'm gonna go ahead and let these just sit in the canner. I'm gonna set my timer for 5 minutes and then we will bring these beauties out. All right, and can you see that? I'm gonna kind of tilt you on the side there. Do you see that headspace? Do you see how much it grew? So that is what happens with pie filling, okay? So, like I said, I think out of all my friends, I'm the pie filling queen. I think I make it the most out of everybody. Because I use it a lot. You know, I've got a lot of kids, so it's the perfect thing for me when I'm having a house full of guests here to just crack open a couple of jars of this and make a couple of apple pies or apple crisps. It's so easy. So, all right, and then put the other two here, I guess here. So we'll do here, and then we'll do over here, and then for the thumbnail, we will go ahead and put the future apple crisp there. So hold on, let me take you off the tripod so I can zoom you in a little. They're already pinging. So I just want to show you the headspace. Okay. So as you see, they are at the 1-inch headspace, which is what you want. But that's a 1-inch headspace on average, okay? And that's what you want your pie filling at. The problem is if you overfill your jars, you are going to have oozing. As you can see, my water is completely clear and clean. I had no loss at all, okay? And it's just it's like a fine balance. So if you struggle at all with pie filling and it exploding in your canner and you lose your tops, or you get a lot of oozing dripping down your jars, it's just a matter of needing a little bit more headspace. So right here, right at the curve of the jar is what works best for me, you guys. I do hope that this was helpful to you in some way and that you find success in your pie filling. And as always, if you have any questions, leave them down below in the comment section. I will try my very, very best to answer them. I try to really keep up on my comment section. The first day or so the video is out. After that it gets a little hard because I get hundreds of comments from other videos every day. So sometimes things can get lost in a sea of comments, but I try to really kind of police my comment section. The first day it's up or so that I'm answering as many of you as I can. So, all right guys, with that, happy fall, happy apple canning, everything apple, right? Apple pie filling, you know, apple jam, apple sauce, you know, apple jelly, I mean, all the things. Now, I will be back later on this weekend because we're gonna move on from apples and we're gonna move on to pumpkins. And we're gonna can some pumpkin because there is a pumpkin shortage in the cans, right? To make homemade pumpkin breads and pumpkin pie. So I'm gonna show you how to do it at home. On your own home canned pumpkin. So, all right, that's gonna be the next video and I'll see you guys very soon. All right, bye guys.